Welcome to a very spooky episode of the Kyle and Thomas Show.
The witch is in.
We have our third female guest. We've almost exclusively had women on the podcast.
Diversity.
We had Miles Francis. We had Sagan Butler. Now we have Ruth Banks. Ruth motherfucking Banks to y'all
Ruth
out
motherfucking
there.
Banks.
Not only that, she might be the number one guest because she brought us fucking gifts. So other guests do better. What the fuck are y'all doing? Everybody
Word
else
out
came
to the
up
future,
giftless.
alright? We want to be treated to something. You know, we want sweet treats.
You gotta bribe people to get in the door here.
I gotta double make sure it's recording because y'all got my paranoid with the fuck with it.
We definitely...
We're doing it.
I gave Thomas his roses and said he has not fucked up and lost an entire episode just yet. And then Ruth said, it'll be this one.
Kyle aggressively and Ruth both had to aggressively jinx me during Halloween week, dude.
That's why this one's so spooky.
Witching
shit.
hour.
Well, do you want to try the cookies, dude, while we're here, while they're there? I've been slobbering this whole
Taste
time.
test.
Waiting.
Hell
eyeing them,
yeah.
like
Nice
a cartoon.
cold Bud Light, the go-official drink of the podcast to wash it down.
Y'all don't understand. There was like little stink lines, smell lines, like cartoon ones coming,
Not
and they
stink-
put,
hey, come on now.
I don't know what to call them.
Smell
and then
line.
they-
Fragrance.
Fragrance
fumes,
lines, fumes lines. And then they did like the two fingers up my nostrils and did the come here motion, and I floated here by my nostrils.
I think he's
Because
trying
they're
to say
coming
that
off
you're a
these
Disney
cookies.
princess. You're a Disney princess is what he's trying to say.
I was really trying to figure out where that was going. I was like, did I not shower
You
today?
just said
Like,
two
what am
fingers,
I-
come hither motion, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Okay, you guys are real perverts.
The pregame for this mic is so weird. This is an open mic to me. This is the same company.
You know what? A lot of people
Try-
say that it's the best part.
Yeah, we're the Workshop Bits podcast, so if you want to run anything by it.
So we've got two
So,
kinds of
Ruth, you
cookies.
also learn at edible arrangements. How was that?
I just do 5 minutes that I do in my set anyways.
Take the cookies with you.
I tip you $2 on the way out. So we've got chocolate chip cookies and then also brown sugar cookies, which are just chocolate chip cookies without the
Yo.
chocolate chips.
And the company's name is what?
Dipped dopamine.
And why did you choose that over fresh fentanyl? Or sugar relapse?
Or sugar relapse. Yeah, I originally wanted to make strawberries that were just dipped in chocolate, but the thing about that is that then you have to buy strawberries and they have to be fresh, and like you have to be able to consistently get like ones of good size.
Real size queen.
Real size cream.
In the strawberry department, sorry.
She worked at Edible Arrangements, and she's like, I could fucking do this.
I had so much anxiety after leaving Edible Arrangements and starting Dip Dopamine because even though I like lived an hour away from where I worked in Edible Arrangements because I had moved, I was so scared that they were going to get mad at me because I loved my previous boss so much. So like 6 months later, I sent my boss this long text being like, this is what I've been doing. I'm not trying to compete with y'all in any way. We're totally different markets. And she didn't respond for weeks. We're talking maybe a month. And finally I texted one of my old coworkers and was like, is she mad at me? Like, does she hate me? Like, why hasn't she messaged me back? And my old coworker talked to her and she texted me like, oh, hey girl, I forgot to respond to this. Yeah, that's great. Happy for you.
She's like, dude, we're doing all that as a side gig here.
Okay. So,
Edibles?
and this may be a lie, but I have been told when I worked there that the reason you'll never see like a company that has edible in their branding for like an edible company is because Edible Arrangements has that trademarked, the word edible.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, could be a lie. This is the internet. Don't believe everything we say, except it is the gospel and only listen to us for everything.
We exclusively speak in facts.
Yeah.
We're
It's
financial advisors. This is all legal advice and financial advice. And
Chill, yo, chill.
I'm actually cursed by a Greek god, and I can only tell the truth. So it is a burden, but I am very reliable because of that. Anyways, here are these cookies.
my cookies. My cookies.
Yeah.
My cookies. My cookies. Kyle, do you want to half this one?
Yeah, that works.
That works.
This is insane. What's the story?
Thank you.
Now, at first taste, I just want to say, wow.
Thomas and I are real texture guys for obvious reasons.
The tism.
And, the texture's great.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
got
you.
that real gooey and chewy taste that you want to
Yet
cook.
crispy on the outside.
Yeah,
It's just...
gourmet chewy on the inside, you know?
Thank you. The money will be on an envelope when I leave. I appreciate the endorsement.
hell of a cookie.
What made you want to start a cookie making business? Just a side hustle? Just you like baking? What is it?
I've always really enjoyed baking, and I kind of grew up with my mom always baking chocolate chip cookies. So this is a very boring, like, not good for comedy. I have like a good relationship with my parents, and that's like a shame for comedy.
We need some time. You fill this time. This is incredible.
So we would bake cookies a lot, and I really enjoyed it. And so it's also something that is easy to kind of make ahead, and it's not like a bad thing to store cookie dough for a bit. So like it just kind of gets better, and like the flavors all kind of meld together. So not bad at all.
Now, having two parents that love you, what's that like?
See, I like to say that my parents were so supportive that something else in my life had to give out, and that's why my spine's so shitty.
Oh yeah, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
Exactly.
You had too much support. So
Exactly.
your back was like, I
Yeah.
can take this one off.
Yeah, you have what they call EDS. I believe it stands for electronic Down syndrome. Could you please elaborate?
It's the official diagnosis, yeah. No,
Now, what's the difference between that and autism?
So, I don't know if you intentionally were doing this, but Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is the thing that I have, they're looking into a genetic link between that and autism. So there is like
Peanut butter and jelly.
And MCAS is the bread. That's a joke for my zebras out there. Anyways, we're playing to a niche audience. Yeah, no, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome means the collagen your body makes doesn't work. And so I'm going to put this microphone down for a second and do a little demonstration. Sorry, one sec.
Shit. Ew!
No!
Ew!
Stop
She's a
it.
freak!
She's super freaky. No, I'm an X-Men because it's a genetic mutation. So I'm like officially kind of a superhero, and I'm like Elastigirl kind of at the same time. So
Now, why cookies and not the carnival?
okay, so I do kind of refer to it as freak show DNA because the famous contortionists all like kind of genetically have been proven to have had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So yeah, that's real. But also, it's kind of like not good for you to play into it, and it's tempting. Like I shouldn't have really done that just now. Like you're super kind of not supposed to do that, and it like makes things worse when you show off your flexibility. So that's really why. But genuinely, like, and this is sad, but like one of the things I talk about in PT, because I'm in PT for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, because everything in my body is like weak. The joints, they can bend that far, but they shouldn't. It's like a bad thing that they do, even though it's very cool and good for internet clicks online. And I mean that in every way you think that I do. It's like, I'll literally say like, oh yeah, my back hurts too much to make more than one batch of cookies in the day. So like, that'll be one of my PT goals is like, how long can I like bake for without like it hurting too much to do it? And the awful part about being autistic and having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is that goddamn pain scale. They'll be like, rate your pain on a scale of 1 to 10. And I'm like, right now at its worst, like what kind of pain? There's so many different kinds. Do you mean like is 1 like no pain at all, or is 1 like the best feeling I've ever had? And then like 10, is that like I'm dead, or is 10 just like really bad pain? And like what does each number mean? And also there's so many questions.
I think it's pretty much just like Yelp, where you either do a 1 or a 10.
That is not at all my opinion on it. And also all the questions that they'll do for my reevaluation are like, does pain prevent you from walking more than a mile? And it's like, it probably should, but I'm also very stubborn, so it's not really.
I need a free-form answer. I ain't no bitch.
Exactly. It's like you're not measuring how much pain I'm in, you're measuring how much of a bitch I am. And the answer is I'm not.
I ain't no bitch.
So you're saying instead of a pain test, it should be a bitch test?
It's so hard because pain is such like an individual experience. There's no way for like even people with the same condition to like 100% be like know what each other are experiencing, or for a doctor to know what their patient is experiencing. And especially, some doctors, just like in any career field, some people are great and some people are just there to get a paycheck. There are some doctors who are like gonna Google it and pull up the Wikipedia page in front of you, and like that's happened. That's real.
So you have electronic downs?
I did one at the doctor that Googled it in front of me. I was in a room with like really uncomfortable chairs, and after they Googled it in front of me, they moved me into a room with a recliner.
Nice.
And that was like the most validation I felt from that doctor the whole appointment. I appreciate y'all accommodating me today with this this lovely chair.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of Between Two Fats.
Between two tisms.
Speaking of that basically what you were just sharing was like it helped me because I was like, I don't know, I was like, fuck. I've been really weird at like doctors' offices too with that same question. Mm-hmm. So it's nice other people think about that.
Absolutely.
I just am terrified of the doctor in general. I'm like, this is where people go to die, and I'm not dead, so I'm not going there. Good try, doctors.
Nice try. Almost got me today. You go in for like the flu one time, and it's like, we got him.
Oh man, it's just good. I had an ingrown toe one time, and I just kept cutting off a chunk of my
An ingrown toe or an ingrown toenail?
Well, maybe both.
Column A, column B.
My fucking big toe is inside out. No, it's an ingrown toenail. But I was like, I'm not getting surgery on my toe. That's dumb. So I just kept cutting off a chunk of my toe.
Which kind of is surgery, just to be clear.
Yeah.
It was just like unprofessional. You're like, I'm not going to get a...
He cut off parts of his toe. I cut off a part of my gum that was hanging.
With an X-Acto knife.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That, like, I want to scold
Different
you, but also...
X-Acto knives, all right? We weren't sharing X-Acto
There was no
knives.
cross-contamination.
We weren't sharing needles.
Remember, this is medical advice. It's not. Please.
If you have anything wrong with you, just try to cut it off. It worked twice. I mean, 2 for 2. That's 100% success rate.
So you're saying I should cut my spine out?
If you want.
I thought the doctors tried.
It fought back. They were unsuccessful. It's got a mind of its own. It's like booby trapped. And not for the reason you think.
You should just get one of those like hover rounds, but on like buttons with hydraulics and stuff.
Dude, if you had like a hover round with spinners and like a train horn.
Oh my gosh. I've messed around with some different mobility aids in my time. The problem is, like, it seems like every mobility aid, for me at least, just puts the pressure somewhere else. And the whole thing with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is that kind of everything is weak. So, like, if I'm using a cane to help take some weight off of my knees, which are hurting, I'm putting it on my wrist and my arm and my shoulder. And so it's like inevitably there's something else taking the weight. And so there are people for who it's absolutely helpful. But the thing that it is not helping for me is that it's kind of just everywhere. And nothing just helps with kind of everywhere that I've found.
So you're like looking to try to figure out the power of flight, like instantly.
That is a real thing, is that, like... People
You've been trying to figure out the power of flight?
One of those mobility
It's a real
devices.
thing. I have been looking into that actually a lot.
One of those mobility devices that she's tried is just tying a bunch of helium balloons to herself.
She keeps on jumping off a roof and saying, "Believe!"
I tried to up myself.
She lands in the yard in a crinkled mess, and it doesn't hurt her because she has fucking circus genes or whatever.
Well, I've never broken a bone for that reason.
There we go.
It's like, I bend, don't break, you know?
Spaghetti.
Because I ain't a bitch!
That's what they call her, Spaghetti Banks, dude.
I like how you were like, don't yell into the mic, and now twice I've yelled, I ain't a bitch, right into the mic.
That'll be alright, dude. Paxton said way worse into a mic. No,
It's good for emphasis.
So you recorded an album, but you said you had to edit a large amount of it out because of crickets? Albums.
I have recorded 2 albums,
But
yeah.
one you did right after your spinal surgery?
Yes, that is true. I've had spinal surgery twice, and like...
Is that the worst?
I don't want to scare people off from getting it if it's necessary, because it was both a very, very hard recovery, but also like singularly turned around my life. Like, I used to get 8 to 9 extremely debilitating migraines every month that would last several days. And so once you start multiplying like several days by 8 to 9 times a month, like you don't have a month anymore.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
so, yeah.
A 2-day migraine sounds like the worst thing I've ever heard of. I didn't even know that could exist.
And migraines are a really hard thing because a lot, like, okay, my back hurts a lot. I can sit down, I can lay down, I can do things to accommodate that and still largely live a life. Migraines, I can't have my eyes open. So, like, there's no way to still be a productive member of society, in my opinion, with, like, a bad migraine. So, after the first spinal surgery, hardest thing I've ever done, but also nipped those migraines in the bud after I'd recovered about a year. So huge life-changing thing for me. Also, hardest thing I've ever done, like I said. So the second time, I also knew it was going to be very difficult, but I'm a comedian now, so the way I kind of processed everything was through comedy.
Was it the spinal surgery that hurt the migraines, or was it the lobotomy that you
The lobotomy really nipped it in the bud. And again, you're closer than you think, because I have something called a Chiari malformation, which means my brain is falling out of my head by 6 millimeters so far. And frankly, I don't rely on that enough.
You know why? Because she ain't no bitch.
Because I ain't no bitch. Anytime I'm late somewhere.
I was born with paper skin and glass bones. Every day I wake up and I break my feet.
Anytime I'm late anywhere, I should be saying, I'm sorry I'm late. My brain is falling out of my head. Anytime I'm late on an assignment, I should say, I'm sorry I was late on this assignment. My brain's falling out of my head. But you know what? I don't. Because I ain't no bitch.
I would be the biggest bitch if I was That would be my excuse for everything.
And this is the part where this is the part where belonging to a minority and doing comedy, there is a certain amount of like expectation, I feel, also to like give certain clarifications. Accommodating yourself and providing explanations for when you are struggling is not being a bitch. Just to be very clear, please do what you need to do to take care of yourself and allow people around you to understand. That being said, I probably won't. So,
and that's coming from our favorite minority, Ruth Banks, right? You heard it here first, folks.
I like to say that disability is the only minority accepting application, so watch your fucking mouth, Thomas Gunter.
Me and Kyle are filling out the forms.
I'm filling them out for you.
True. A whole bunch of backwards S's if me and Kyle do it, dude. But you were doing that. You were going to school and doing comedy all at the same time. Fucking how?
I've had 2 different spinal surgeries. I was going to school during the first one.
Why'd you get the second one?
So the second one is because once you have spinal surgery, you're like, your spine is all...
You get hooked. You're like, I got to do this again.
It's really addicting, man. I'm just like scratching my arms.
I'm due for one. Y'all want to get spinal surgery?
Just a little one to take the edge off.
So you fuse together a lot of your spine so it doesn't bend anymore, which helps hugely, like I've talked about. But also the next spine piece that does bend is going to have a lot more pressure on it and a lot more bending happening. So that one will eventually get weaker and will break down. And so I started having more and more pain. And we went back to the spinal surgeon and did some imaging. We talked even back in the day that there was like a good chance I was going to need to get a couple more layers done. But the thing is, like, first spinal surgery was like 8 layers fused together. And all in my neck, whereas this one was like 2 layers fused together down in like my mid back. So it's not as dramatic the second time, which is why the recovery was still awful, but I also was able to like do stuff, I felt like.
And a lot of people don't talk about it, but it actually makes you shorter. Ruth actually used to be 7'2" before all the surgeries. They were calling her the Caitlin Clark of the gingers.
A lot of like comedy, just gingers. All gingers.
No, because she was on the court just dunking on people. She was 7'2", but then the back injuries and the migraines were debilitating. She had to go into comedy.
all those vertebrae.
Exactly.
She lost 1.5 feet of backbone.
And it comes across in how I stand up for myself. A real story during the college spinal surgery. At one point, my roommate and I were walking on the street, and you're not supposed to inhale cigarette smoke after you get spinal surgery because you're like trying to fuse your spine together, and apparently that's like really bad for that. And I don't smoke, but like secondhand smoke is even like a big deal. And so this lady was smoking very close in front of us, and it was blowing back onto us. And my roommate goes, "Hey, lady, I need you to stop smoking. My roommate's trying to grow a spine." Which makes sense to us, but to her just sounds like I'm too timid to stand up for myself. Yeah. So that was fun.
But like we established earlier, Ruth ain't no bitch.
Ain't no bitch.
Ain't no bitch.
Oh, shit.
And it's because I've got a titanium reinforced spine. So again, plays into the brand.
Wolverine style. You want to talk about your 2 cricket stories?
Oh my gosh.
You're a big fan of crickets, right?
I hate crickets. I hate crickets so much. I blame it on the fact that when I was like a little kid, like a toddler, this is one of my earliest memories, was opening up one of my like little toy boxes and a cricket just coming out at me. I hate the unexpectedness. Like I never know what its next move going to be. It could fly coming right at me. I don't like it.
I hate crickets because that's what I hear after half of my jokes.
Well, and that's the real nightmare, recording a comedy special and an actual cricket comes out. You're getting heckled by an actual cricket?
It's
that's
just
real
waiting
bad.
there, like premeditating, just like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm waiting for my time to shine.
I've got a hater at my show who brought it in a little box, just like...
The lucky cricket from Mulan, dude.
But yeah, I was recording a comedy special and there was a cricket that came on there, but then we ended up cutting it because we didn't want like the venue like didn't want to like look dirty and stuff. So we won't get too much into it or talk too much about that because it's a great venue and I love them very much. And if they didn't want it on the special, they may not want it out on a podcast either. But no,
I can edit it out.
I don't really care that much. But no, I was talking about the fact that with my cricket hate, I was getting pain meds at like 6 a.m. from a pharmacy, which you're already probably not doing well, whatever that situation is. And a cricket jumped through.
6 a.m. You're in the pharmacy line. They're like, oh, this person's fiending.
A cricket jumped through the window into my car right as the person was opening the pharmacy window. So I'm sitting there just attacking myself. And she's looking down at me 6 a.m. about to hand me pain meds like, oh, no, I need to call someone.
Full-blown withdrawal.
Oh, no. So I don't go to that Walgreens anymore. But not because of the embarrassment, just because of the crickets. Because in that way, I am a little bit of a bitch.
She's known around Dallas as Perk Nowitzki. She's been making a name for herself.
I'm known around Dallas as cricket bitch.
The cricket slang.
Yeah, not a fan of crickets, man.
Y'all are like super big Swiftie fans. The funniest thing we should have talked to Miles about is that he got into Taylor Swift by going to the movie on acid. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
And
it changed his life.
Kind of rocks.
My favorite part is that he went with me on acid, and it was like as the lights were going down that I mentioned to him that this was like a 2-hour and 40-minute experience. He was expecting like an hour and a half maybe, and he was like, oh no, you're already on a ride you can't get off on in more ways than one.
Ruth had clothespins over his eyes holding them open. Miles got MK Ultra'd into being a Swiftie.
Initiation begins.
And I want to be clear, I said a ride you can't get off on. I meant a ride you can't get off of.
Because Miles got off multiple times in the theater.
As soon as Reputation started.
It's also not
Pee Wee Herman style.
Any true fan though knows that it's the vigilante shit part though, not necessarily Reputation. But yeah, no, big fan of Taylor Swift. As weird as that whole interaction just was discussing her, and it was my fault, so I can't even blame anybody. No, love her and respect her very, very much, and her music changed my life. And I remember listening to it as like a child, and I remember listening to it now because I'm doing it currently, right now in headphones. I'm not even listening to what y'all are talking about.
You can't see under the hair.
Yes, that's why I've got the hair long.
It's wild. I was thinking about this earlier this week, but it's like, it's been almost 20 years of listening to Taylor Swift.
Well, so debut came out 18 years ago, like yesterday or something. Yeah, so it's been,
Wild.
Not to date exactly when this is being recorded, but if you know when debut Taylor Swift was recorded, you know when this was recorded.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
What's y'all's favorite thing about...
Let's just say that we're in New Orleans right now, and you'll be able to, timestamp that. Sorry?
What's your favorite thing about T Swift right now? Why is that your obsession? What appeals to you about her?
So, okay. This actually, I think I have an answer that may surprise some people. So, obviously, there is a huge appeal in the music itself. The lyrics specifically are the part that I think a huge divide that people have in music in general is some people heavily prefer the lyrics, and some people heavily, not prefer, but like mainly key into the lyrics, and some people heavily key into music. And I think Taylor Swift is for people who are like heavy on the lyrics side. And that is nothing against the music, but I think that is just something I have found in common with Taylor Swift people. And the thing that for me has really taken it to a new level, especially these past couple years, is the community aspect around it. Like the fun part for me about going to the movie as many times as I did and going to the Eras tour is like all the other people being enthusiastic about something in the same place, and like people not making other people feel bad about that, and people just genuinely being really fucking excited and having a good time. And I love seeing people have a good time and make the friendship bracelets, take the moment and taste it. You've got no reason to be afraid,
Sort of like a freak off kind of vibe.
Yes, exactly.
There's no judgment. There's a lot of baby oil. There's
Swizzy parties.
Swifty parties.
But yeah, no, I really enjoy like just getting to enjoy something with other people. And I find that to be true in a lot of my interests, is just things people get to be enthusiastic about. I am on board.
Hell yeah. What's your favorite era, if you will?
Oh, Evermore is my favorite album. And I think the Evermore era in general is great. So probably Evermore.
Kyle, what about you? What appeals to Taylor Swift about you? You can't copy that answer.
What's that?
I said you can't copy.
I was going to say a lot of it is like the lyricism and stuff, and just the way that she'll construct
Textbook
the way
copying.
that that's no, because the way that she'll construct songs, and A lot of it is music related, and then also she just seems like a sweet person. And yeah, that's.
How was the concert when you were with Ruth? What were the vibes like? Guys, it wouldn't be an episode of the Kyle and Thomas Show without major technical difficulties every fucking time. Because storage is hard, you guys. The thing about technology is it sucks, and you should never use it unless you're doing a podcast. We last left off talking about going to the Taylor Swift concert. Ruth, you want to take it away?
Yes, I went to the Taylor Swift concert, and the vibes were immaculate. I believe you were asking me about the vibes. Absolutely immaculate. I was very lucky in that I lucked my way into going 3 times. I only bought 1 ticket because I was not planning to take up resources in any sort of way that would piss anyone off. But I ended up just kind of stumbling my way into being there 3 times.
It was a sugar daddy situation.
No, hold on. No.
It was a sugar grandfather.
No. And it was a very cool experience because night 1 I went with all the friendship bracelets I had made, and then I realized that the best and coolest experience is to give friendship bracelets to the little kids, and all the bracelets I made were adult size. So I went home that night and made the kid friendship bracelets, and also the ones that didn't say you're gay and stuff. So I had to quickly separate out the ones that said fucked in the head versus the one that said 22, and gotta have different piles and different sizes suddenly. So it became a whole operation, and we had different carabiners sorted in different sizes and themes, and
sheesh.
Yeah, it was a good time. And I would get there really early so that there was time to soak in the community experience. And also, this is probably the most autistic part of my Taylor Swift experience, is that the group that I went with, the first night we had a very difficult time getting back to where we were supposed to be when the concert ended because it's just a mass rush of people. So the second night, the person I was with, I made them and me walk from our seats to the exit we needed to go out of, and we just rehearsed that path several times so that then in the rush of people we would know where we were going and remember, which is just, I think, textbook planning a situation, but it worked. We got back really efficiently.
Did you feel closer to God in that Taylor Swift environment than you ever have in any church or wedding or any family event or anything like that?
Yes, it was a religious experience. Yeah, absolutely. There are some call outs that we do in the Taylor Swift world, and one of them is take me to church right before she hits a very powerful note in I
think she stole that from Hosier.
Yeah. I would say that's correct. Or we as fans did. Yeah, and I definitely did cry at the song Marjorie. We're gonna get real here for a second. So this is not that, well, no, it is real, I guess. So Marjorie, this is real. Marjorie is a song that Taylor Swift wrote. Marjorie is her grandmother, and her grandmother wanted to be an opera singer, but became just a family woman instead. Not just a family woman; they're very important, but gave up her dreams a little bit for the sake of her family, which is an amazing thing that some women have done. That I hope they only have to do when they want to do.
She was either going to use her throat for one or two things.
Anyways. Oh, God.
Second joke on that episode.
Joke count 2. And her grandmother died before she got to see Taylor Swift become famous. And Taylor Swift put her grandmother's...
Throat cancer. Who'd have thought?
Chill. And Taylor Swift put Marjorie singing in the background of the song, so it's there. And my grandmother, who I love very much, died when I was young, and she.
R.I.P. Bless up.
Her name's
Granny
Ruth.
Banks.
Her name's Ruth, so that's who I was named after.
Baby Ruth.
Baby Ruth. That's it. And she was a nurse, and my grandmother.
'Cause you're nuts.
Did you say 'cause you're nuts?
Yeah. Baby
Ruth.
Baby Ruth.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
got it.
Call back.
Call back.
Because you're nuts and your fuck.
Gooey.
What is your joints are like caramel. Yeah, my bad.
Count
We're
it.
getting it together.
-1 joke. We're back to 2. You Granny Banks.
Granny Banks. Yes, she
My
at
bad.
one point stopped a kidnapping. Because there was a nurse that was holding a baby wrong and walking out with it quickly and
foot
suspiciously.
upside down?
Yeah, just hole over his shoulder, hee hee. No, but holding a baby
With
obviously
one of those bandit
wrong.
masks.
And my grandmother chased her down several flights of stairs of the hospital and fractured her ankle or some shit and caught the baby and got the baby back unharmed. And so she's a hero. And so I'm listening to Marjorie and just seeing in my mind my grandmother, and I'm I openly wept at the Taylor Swift concert in that moment.
Now, what do y'all have to say to all the haters of Taylor Swift, the haters and losers, and the people that don't get it or that are just trying to shit on it? What do y'all say to those people?
I just think, let people enjoy shit. And I don't want to give them too much energy because, people are going to have their opinions about things. And I'm not going to say you have to like Taylor Swift. I just think you should let people enjoy things. And I want you to enjoy the things that you enjoy. And putting a lot of energy into something you don't enjoy is, going to make you sadder overall. So just, do the things you enjoy and let me do the things I enjoy. That's all I ask.
That's the good cop answer. Kyle, can you give the bad cop?
Nah, when they go low, we go high.
I'll do it for you guys. If you hate Taylor Swift, guys, why don't you go drink ditch water out of the ditch like the little gutter pig you are?
That's a real ally right there.
I don't even care either way. I just hate haters, dude. But I heart my haters.
Shout out to my haters.
Shouts out to my haters.
Shouts out to our haters, friends of the pod.
Friends of the pod.
Shout out to the ops.
We do it for you.
You keep us motivated.
What do you want to talk about your stint at the edible arrangements? Oh, did we already do that? Am I stupid? We already definitely talked about that.
We joked about doing it, and we talked about my starting a business after edible arrangements.
Oh, but we never talked about your actual stint at edible arrangements.
Yes. So I worked at edible arrangements for like a year, and honestly, one of my favorite jobs I ever had. If they paid more, I would have stayed a lot longer, but that's just like the reality of
pay a livable wage, folks.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. But
edible
really
arrangements, not livable arrangements. Am I right, sis? That's Marxist tea right there.
And I tell a lot of jokes about it on stage, so check out, Screwed for the full joke.
Yeah, peep
joke
screwed,
version.
peep dippable dopamine.
Braced,
plug them all.
Ruth Banks on Spotify, YouTube.
Gotta plug them all. Pokemon. That sounds wrong. Never
Hold
mind.
on.
Hold on. Wait a second.
Pause.
No. Wait.
I think we're playing different Pokemon games.
Oh, did you not download it from
Newgrounds?
There we go. That's what I was looking for. I don't even have to
alley-oop, dude. I'm fucking out here finishing like fucking Taylor Swift's grandma. Call back. So you were.
We're at one joke now, folks.
We're back to one.
Back to one. This is a bad time. This is actually why the episode keeps getting corrupted or being haunted by Taylor Swift's grandma.
It's a joke recession, dude.
It was the spooky episode, so if something paranormal is going down, that just makes sense.
Oh, speaking of which, have you ever seen a ghost or heard about a ghost or
I used
any paranormal interactions?
I kind of believe in paranormal stuff as a bit, in that, I don't fully have a formed opinion on it, and I'm kind of open to it, but also have never really had any experiences. But I used to say that the place I lived in Denton was haunted, because the first day I moved in, fucking havoc was wreaked. Havoc. A branch came in through my window and shattered my window. I got locked in the bathroom. A light went out very dramatically. It was just a lot of stuff happening all at once. A lot of cockroaches, which didn't then consistently happen forever. It was just when I moved in. And the thing is, all the chaos stopped as soon as I smoked my first bowl in the apartment. So I was like, okay,
They chilled
out, shockingly.
They are just a stoner and were worried I'd be a square
They were
moving in.
fiending, they're like, all right, now
yeah,
we
and they
can
were like,
chill.
okay, we can chill out
It's
now.
been 112 years.
Either that or those cockroaches were a bunch of fucking squares.
And then at one point, I think it was actually Miles Francis. I may be misremembering, but this is a good story, so I can name drop.
Friend of the show.
Shout out Miles Francis, friend of the show. Can I declare somebody a friend of the show if it's not my show? Does that make it like the KATS podcast?
You're on the show.
Okay, perfect. Friend of this particular episode.
I was gonna say it could be the Rats podcast, but then I forgot how letters work.
Cards.
We were playing Cards Against Humanity, and I decided that we were going to throw in a random extra card since it was just two of us playing, and then we would judge and sometimes just pick the random card that was funnier than either of our actual picked ansers.
You said carts against humanity. We're betting weed cartridges on it? Because that sounds like a thing you and Miles Francis would do. Hey, Ruth, we're going to bet cards.
And for some reason, the random one was winning every single time, so I decided that it was our form of a Ouija board to channel the ghost that was the stoner ghost haunting my place, and he was very funny. So, I didn't have any issues with this ghost haunting me, and we got along fine.
After you smoked him out,
Yeah, it was all good.
he was just fiending for fucking 300 years.
It was all good. He kept me safe.
Oh, shit. You said you went to fucking Colombia or something as an 11-year-old?
I went to Argentina, yeah.
The same country?
It was to visit her German ancestors.
I was going to say, how do you know you're not a ghost? Because you kind of look like the orphan daughter of a rich family that fucking never, I don't know.
Just because I'm pale doesn't. No.
Throw you in a Victorian dress and you look like a child that.
I don't want to say absolutely haunting.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a ghost in tie-dye? Come on.
True. That's a good answer.
I mean, yeah. Go on.
But yeah, I went to Argentina.
Point.
I won't say like the name of the organization because I don't know if they'd want to be associated with who I've become. But I was very cool as a kid, and it was basically this program where 12 different countries sent
Hitler Youth.
Yep, that's what I was trying to not say.
12 different countries sent 4 kids each, and we all went to like a summer camp type thing. It was a university in Argentina.
It was a camp?
And we all just like did. It was honestly very like emotionally heavy stuff for like 11-year-olds. I'll give you an example. There was a time where we were all divided up into groups, not by country. We were mixed up with random people.
By race.
No, we were mixed up with random people.
You were all segregated.
The purpose, no, it was a really nice, wholesome thing. It was a really nice thing.
You could have just stuck with
This is how God wants it.
And they had us all make little cities out of like cups and puffballs and construction paper and stuff.
As you do.
And
Did
then
some cities get more funding than others?
we went on to other activities. And then one by one, the groups were pulled in and shown another city. And we're told, you're at war with this city. Do what you will. And we destroyed that fucking city.
Of course.
We destroyed that city. And then we all came back together as a group in the gymnasium where the cities were with blankets over them. And all at the same time, we pulled our blankets off of our cities. Ours was untouched. Yeah. Untouched. So we're like, what happened here? What happened? And the other group, when they were presented with our city and told we were at war,
They were said, y'all are friends?
they asked why.
Oh.
Which is the most bullshit thing for an 11-year-old to do in this kind of situation. They couldn't get a good answer about why there was a war, so they wouldn't destroy it. Meanwhile, we're there just like stamping out the orphanage.
Dancing in the end zone.
I've never felt like a bigger asshole in my entire life. And that one moment informed so many of my decisions moving forward in life. Which I also think was kind of the point. Like, that's what they wanted, was to traumatize you into, like, going out and doing good in the world. And that, honestly, 10 out of 10. Also, I got my first kiss at that camp. It was incredible. It was with a British boy. Ooh. And there was this field that we weren't allowed to walk on because it was full of fireflies. And they took care of the firefly population. And we went, like, right to the edge of that field and, like, had our first kiss, like, surrounded by the fireflies. Ooh. First kiss, British boy, Argentina, fireflies. Been downhill since.
Tongue?
Come? No.
I said tongue, not tongue. What the fuck? God damn. Come? I did it. He did, of course. But that's what fireflies do to a man. Jeez Louise. I thought tongue was raunchy. She went straight to fifth base.
That wasn't even like for content. That was just what I heard.
Cream pie? Of course not. Just a little on my chin. What? I'm not a fucking animal. This is my first. Jeez Louise.
I'm crying.
Welcome to the podcast.
No, he was at that age where he could orgasm but not come, so he just kind of fell to his knees on a little Christ the Redeemer fashion.
That's why they call them Quakers.
Oh no.
While I just rubbed one out and enjoyed the fireflies and counted them like an autiste. It was a real Starry Night situation.
Oh no, but it was an incredible time. One of the most interesting parts, or like the funnest parts. I'm trying to pivot because I don't know where else to go.
No, you got it. We're believing you.
Gotta reel it in somehow. Give her a chance. She's doing our job.
No, but in something less pedophilic.
A lot of the people there didn't necessarily speak English, or English wasn't their first language, or a language they like spoke predominantly. So when we would give instructions, they would first be delivered in English, and then they would be delivered in every other language.
German.
So the 12 different languages would each be like delivered for the instructions. So it was so interesting because I would hear the instructions in English and then sit back and hear it in every other language, and it was just like so cool.
And then Ruth learned 12 languages at once.
And that's why I work for the CIA now.
Rain Man style. That's why she's dressed up in the most traditional hippie costume you've ever seen.
Agent Ruth
Would a
Banks.
Fed wear tie-dye, bro? I don't think so. Let's smoke some coke.
can't be a ghost, can't be a Fed. Tie-dye.
Tie-dye and combat boots.
That's the name of my third comedy album.
I'm hippie from the waist up. I'm fucking... Something of a fascist from the ankle down.
Oh my god.
You would not believe your eyes. 10 million fireflies. Holy shit.
I love the way my dad tells the story of how that happened, because my parents are like not the type to necessarily just like let me leave the country when I was 11, and like that was a lot for them and for me. Really. But basically what happened is these people came to my school. That's how they get you. And they were like, hey, telling us about this thing, and you can go to this other country and like bond with kids your age and all that stuff. And I was like, great, I'm in. And they were like, we pick 4 people, from the U.S. So I go home and tell my parents, like, they're going to pick 4 people from the U.S. And my parents are like, sure, apply. Great, go for it. Whatever. And then I apply, I get invited to this like sleepover, which is how they judge who's going.
Who's the hottest?
And so my dad goes to drop me off at this sleepover, and there's maybe like 20 kids there, and like, chaperones, of course, but like, just like 20, 11-year-olds. And he's like, so how are you?
Mostly kids.
So like, how many kids are going to be going from this group? And they were like, well, we're trying to fill like 3 different villages right now, so it'll be about 12 kids from this group. And so he's like, 12 out of 20? Oh no, okay. And how do you pick the kids? And they go, well, the ones who are like nice and like compassionate to other people.
The ones who know the most facts about fireflies, actually.
And my dad was like, oh shit, she's going to another fucking country. Oh no. Like, she's for sure going to another country now. Like,
I was gonna say, you said your parents are great, but the way this story is told, it sounds kind of fucked up.
No, it was a really good experience.
It sounds great, but just the setup to it, like there's these people, they come to your school, they say, hey, let's have a giant sleepover with all the children. Let's see which ones are the best.
Maybe we take them to another country.
Let's see which children we can fill up the most villages in Argentina with. If you heard that,
I don't know, someone nice and agreeable.
If you carried a child for 9 months and then heard that on their 12th birthday, you'd be like, probably not. No, Argentina's closed. Ruth, Argentina's closed.
I actually turned 12 on the flight home from Argentina, and my parents had always told me I couldn't get my ears pierced until I turned 12, so I had them take me from the airport to get my ears pierced and then to school.
It's like Ruth has a paperclip on the plane, like, happy birthday to Bob.
Also, I was such a brat because my parents took my little brother to Disney World while I was in Argentina, and I was like pissed about that. I was like, y'all went to Disney World without me? And meanwhile, I was in Argentina without any of them. Like,
well, Argentina's not the happiest place on earth.
At all.
I don't know, for the Germans it was.
Depends on who you are.
If you're a firefly, an ex-Nazi, it's pretty fucking great.
Oh, shit. I'm still thinking about the fireflies thing. I'm sorry. That's fucked up. Oh, my Lanta. So you've been doing comedy for like 5 years now?
7.
7?
Yeah.
I'm stupid.
No, I don't care.
We started 2 years ago, so... No, I'm just kidding. That's not even true. So you started comedy... All right, I'm going to clip it right here.
Okay, so hold on.
So, Ruth, you started comedy 7 years ago. Is that true?
No, actually 5 years ago.
Fuck! God damn it.
Was that intentional? Leave all that in. Just so we... No one will believe us if we don't leave it in.
No, I've been doing comedy for 7 years.
Yeah, you probably ran into your fair share of like, I don't know, batshit insane people, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
What's like the craziest shit you've ever seen go down at an open mic that you can talk about?
I was going to say that I can talk about. I mean, I've seen my fair share of just like manifestos be shared on stage.
Oh, for sure.
Like there have been times when I'm like, oh, I'm the only woman in the room. I should probably have somebody walk me to my car. Like, one of my favorite stories. This is not really that insane, but it was at local, just like small bar open mic on a Sunday night, and the comedian on stage was like, "Am I right, ladies?" And then looked around and realized I was the only woman in the room. It was like, "Am I right, Ruth?" I guess. I think one of the things that probably like stuck out to me the most, or not bothered me the most out of everything, but there was one time I did my set and then got off stage, and the host came back on stage and was like, "Everybody, give it up for Ruth's tits."
Jesus.
Okay, I'm like, I don't know if I needed that.
Well, do you want to talk about how you got a breast reduction and lost, 6 pounds of tit?
Yeah. I considered trying to find a way to throw you under the bus again in that moment and be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But no. We'll leave it alone. I got a breast reduction, and it's kind of funny.
No, I actually got implants. They're fucking...
Because I got 4 pounds taken off, but people like to do that with my breast reduction. They turn it into like a fishing
20
story,
pounds?
where they're like, "Yeah, she got 100 pounds taken off her tits." Like it's like a fish I'm holding up, and I'm like,
She
"It's
used to
just
be
4."
90% tit, dude. They pull them around in a wheelbarrow like that South Park episode.
Genuinely, the craziest part about the breast reduction is when you're asleep in bed and turning
They
over.
don't smother you while you're sleeping on your back?
Well, like, because when before reduction, they kind of have this effect of going like, you turn over and it's like, ka-chunk, chunk.
Chunk. Ka-chunk. You heard it here first. Ka-chunk, chunk. It's followed by a second chunk.
2 chunks.
It was like loud toolboxes falling down.
Exactly. And so it's like, the fact that you can like all kind of move in one motion is very like groundbreaking.
Chunk, chunk.
Ka-chunk, chunk.
The name of the episode has to be Ka-chunk, chunk.
I'm just glad it's not come with Ruth
It's
Banks.
come. Ka-chunk sounds like plus size Lightning McQueen's catchphrase. Ka-chunk.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So that happened. And it's a whole thing. If you want to get into it, they like cut your nipples off. I don't talk about this on stage that much, but they like fully cut your nipples off. And the thing is, sometimes you lose nipple feeling completely, and your nipple just dies. And
Your nipple dies?
Your nipple dies, and like you put it back on, and you can't feel it anymore. And
It
it's
turns
like
black?
Well, I mean, I think they either
nerve,
replace like the nerve dies, and so you like can't like feel it anymore. I touched my nipple a bit just then, and it was awkward. So for the viewers at home,
Edit this part.
Patreon only.
yeah.
KATS OnlyFans.
Jeez.
You guys have an OnlyFans account, and it's just this one moment.
It'll be the most money we ever make off of it.
No, I'm pretty sure there was a moment where fucking Sagan Sharon stoned us. I should have said Miles.
Yeah, I should have said Miles.
There should have been a moment where Miles Sharon stoned, and we're back.
And we're back. What was I talking about?
Oh, you got your
Oh, my
tits
nipples!
removed?
My nipples, right?
Yeah.
My nipples, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
How could you forget?
and then how could I possibly
The eyes
forget?
of the tits.
And so my case was considered borderline extreme, where like I was the exact measurement that makes it an extreme case. And so the surgeon was like, I don't know if we'll be able to save your nipples or not. So I went under not knowing if I would have nipple feeling when I woke up. And so then I woke up and was like having to navigate how quickly is it appropriate to ask about my nipples.
Borderline extreme tits.
Yeah. Title of my 3rd comedy album.
Let's go. It's like her jumping a fucking 4-wheeler over a fucking gulch.
But yeah, so they were able to save the
Confederate
nipples.
flag top, rainbow flag bottom. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You heard it here first. They saved the nipples. But it was like super like
They were on life support?
it was like super touch and go. They were like it was like my surgeon felt very accomplished that he was like able to save them.
They had to have a fucking nurse blow on them while they were on ice in a cooler.
The other thing is that I've read online from
They
people.
had they had the fucking shock paddles and they were like, clear!
Little nipples jumping
It
around.
was full seizure. We were able to save the nipples, man. I'm just glad I'm alive.
Little CPR with 2 fingers.
Blowing into them. Oh my Lanta.
I've read about cases online where people had nipple piercings and they got put back on crooked.
They got their like tires at the fucking shop. They got their nipples rotated, so the less tread on the fucking edges or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, what was the outcome? What was the outcome of that? How did it work?
My
So your
nipples were
nipples
saved.
worked.
Yeah,
Yeah, her nipples work.
I still have feeling in my nipples for the viewers at home.
And no more ka-chunks.
No more ka-chunks. The ka-chunks
All
are
good
out.
news here.
Yep, it's all good.
Ruth,
Although I did go to the surgeon for like my 6-month checkup, and he was like, they're a little lopsided, and I was like, okay, ouch, like, yeah, it's not what you want to hear at like your boob checkup.
well, fucking, maybe they did it to seem more natural because
Yeah,
they're all
exactly,
lopsided, so he's like
exactly.
trying to do a little bit too much
Exactly.
realism. It's like I could have made him symmetrical, but
you know,
I wanted to keep him true to his form.
yeah.
They're a little asymmetrical. One's like twice as big as the other one. Please even them out, sir. Why? Why did you only introduce one of them? I needed
I could only afford half the
Now it's
surgery.
just a con, not a chunk.
I needed the before and after pics. Now turn to your left side. Now turn to your right. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, I mean it's one of those things that it happened, and I kind of like we were talking about. I think off the air is that I made a Facebook post then because I'm friends with a bunch of fucking comedians, and I knew I was gonna have the same conversation 100 fucking times. So I just went ahead and made a post. And was like, hey y'all, I'm telling you, I got a breast reduction, so you don't have to like feel awkward about asking me. Like it happened, confirmed. Nobody needs to wonder about it. Happened. Here's some FAQs.
FAQs?
And have a
You're like
press
posting-
release.
Yes, my nipples still work. We're all shocked.
Thankfully, they were able to.
They were able to save the nips.
Did you ask what they did with the excess tit? I would have wanted to keep it like as a
In a jar.
I don't know.
You know, I meant to ask about that. I don't remember if I ever got an answer on that. The thing is, like, the day of surgery, you mean to do so much that it's all just a blur.
I would ask him to make me like something to hang from my rearview window.
The thing about me getting surgery is that, like, the things that makes anesthesiologists know that you need to have more stuff to knock you out, being a redhead, having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, being anxious or depressed, smoking weed. I literally check all the boxes for, like, needs more. So I think they really just, like... And the thing is, I'm not a natural redhead, and I try and remember to tell them that. But, like, they just, like, really crank it up. And so I'll wake up, like, too groggy. And it's like, oh, no, they really gave me the Mega Man dose.
You get the quality knockout gas.
Yeah. So, like, when I woke up from the breast reduction, I was having an awful time. I was, like, really, really hot and, like, sweating and, like, felt like I was gonna, like, lose my mind. And I was trying to get somebody to get me a cool rag or, like, ice for my forehead or something. And my mom felt everybody was moving too slow, so she took her sweater off, opened her cup of ice water, dipped her sweater sleeve in her ice water, and then put the sleeve on my head.
Boss.
Well, and the good thing is you actually broke your pogo stick record after the reduction.
Yeah.
You're really able to get more than 2 without your tits hitting you in the face and
Black
giving you
eye.
CTE.
Yeah. CTE.
What is it? Chronic tit encrony or whatever it is? What is the E?
Exfoliation.
Yep.
Impactment? No, that's an I. Impact is an I. Nice. Nailed it. Hell yeah.
He's gotten some practice in. There's been a lot of reps.
Also had one on the ground right
Yep.
now. apparently.
I wasn't going to mention that. It's not in frame. We didn't have to acknowledge it.
You're shooting 66%. That's 2 of 3. You're good.
So you said you went to school for directing film and shit like that?
Like plays and stuff. I was a theater major. I was that kid. Yeah, I was in like...
No, you?
And a Swiftie?
I'm shocked. Yeah, no, I
In
was...
the tie-dye and combat boots?
I was mainly focused on like playwriting, and then I also did some directing. But I like wasn't really like just good enough to be an actor person. So it was like, and I really have always enjoyed writing in like any form. Like I like whether like poetry or like plays, or like I've just always written a ton. So it's like I've just really enjoyed the writing part. And so any kind of thing I'm doing, I'm probably doing the writing component of that thing. So I like wrote plays that were produced in college, and that was really, really fun. I had 2 of my plays that we produced in college.
What were your plays about?
So I wrote one play in high school that was a comedy murder mystery that took place at a circus.
Sheesh.
It was called Not My Monkeys. And then I did one.
It's called Downtown Tiny Town Clowns.
That's one you've got in your brain, clearly. Coming this fall.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. And then I did one called A Mixta, which was basically, it was about, I won't get into like what I meant by it. I'll just kind of say what it was about, so we only have so much time. It was a like really lesbian, man-hating mom, like raising a child, a woman that to essentially like raising her with the assumption of like, oh, you're a lesbian, because like that's gonna make life easier for you, so I'm raising you as a lesbian, like raised socially lesbian. And then she goes to college and realizes she might be straight, and like
she experiments with
guys, and like has this experience with one guy who like her roommate has a crush on, and so it's super messy already. And then she comes home.
Ooh,
she comes home on her college break, and her mom, who's like super man-hating, hates men or whatever, has hooked up with this guy who's gonna come stay with them for college break, and his son's gonna come with him, and it's the guy.
Oh,
and so now they're staying under one roof for the Christmas break.
2
And
gays and 2 lesbians.
and so that was a mixta. And then there
Called
was
Scissor Me Timbers.
And then there was Toy Soldier, which was
An Eminem biopic.
okay, so this one, you're not gonna make fun of me, I think. So this one, it was about the idea of like, no, never.
A dildo that got struck by lightning and gained a consciousness like Pinocchio, and then he got PTSD.
Okay, you're close.
Padildio.
No, you're not. You just said you just hit PTSD, and that's part of it.
Count it.
So it was about the idea of like, what if the imaginary friends we have when we're kids are like us from our past life, like entering the afterlife. So when we forget our imaginary friends, it's because they're entering the afterlife, and so it's just that crossover between your lives. And so it was this little kid who was like, his mom was dating again after getting divorced, and he was having these issues at school and stuff, and his imaginary friend was this toy soldier that had like PTSD and was dealing with how he died, like while this kid was like dealing with his parents' divorce and stuff. So like that was Toy Soldier. It was that one.
Holy shit.
What was it like directing entire groups of theater kids?
How'd you wrangle them?
It honestly was a joy. Like, truly, my experiences directing were pretty much across the board a joy. I had casts that I was very lucky were, like, largely enthusiastic and willing to go with me on my shit. Because they were always, like, really low budget. Like, I don't have funding from anywhere to do this, so we're using, like, a couch from my dorm room. And, like, I bought a couch cover, and the way we changed the scenes is by putting on and taking off the couch cover.
They didn't even get real lesbians for the role. They got dudes with bowl cuts.
But truly, everybody I worked with on those things were like such a joy and made me so happy and like genuinely cared, and it was just such a blessing. Which again is not the funny answer, but like I met some amazing people through theater, and I'm glad I got to do it.
I'm just glad me and Kyle got to go to that one and see the full romantic scene between the. I'm being stupid. Never mind. Cut that.
And clap.
And, now, what was your guess? Now I can't be serious.
No, you could.
We're good. Now, Ruth, do you want to get a message out to the world, to people? How do you deal with your severe pain management? I know there's a large community of people that go through having high pain throughout the day, debilitating, real pain heads out there. What are some of your methods of coping with pain besides all the Percocets that you slang, besides all the Xannies that you're
Besides holding up Walgreens pharmacies with crickets?
Besides all the pharmaceutical tomfoolery that you do. It's on paper. We can prove it.
They call her Ruth Fenty Banks.
Hey. Look, if you're in the DEA, hit us up. We got some information on it. No. Okay.
The fentanyl fairy of Dallas, Texas.
The fentanyl fairy!
The fentanyl fairy featuring Ruth Banks.
No, it's definitely
Named my
Ka-chunk
third
Chunk.
Ka-chunk, yeah.
The fentanyl fairy of Dallas, Texas.
The fentanyl fairy of Dallas, Texas.
The perk
Ka-chunk,
princess.
The Quaalude queen.
Keep them coming. Folks, enter your
The
favorite.
barbiturate baroness.
Enter your favorite one of Ruth's drug-affiliated nicknames in the comments.
The cocaine cowgirl.
The Weed Widow, dude. You know, whatever you want to do.
chunk. Weed widow. I like that one, honestly.
That's pretty sick.
That's pretty great. I'll stick with that one. I'm cool with that. Yeah. Okay. Message about pain. But just, and we were kind of talking about this.
Suck it up. Don't be a bitch.
Don't be a bitch. No.
Ain't no bitch.
I think that just like everybody's pain is their own experience, and that's part of what makes it so hard to deal with, is that it's so isolating that you can't just like have somebody else feel your pain. My mom and I have talked sometimes about like, what would it be like if we could have sometime in the future people who could just project their consciousness into your body, and just like that's how you could get diagnosed, is you project somebody into your body and they can just feel what's happening and be like, oh,
it's
that's
like when
wrong.
IT taps into your computer.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Taps in remotely.
Because like none of us have a baseline to compare to.
Right.
Whereas like if somebody
No,
else could just like, who knew what the baseline was, could zap in and be like,
sure.
that. I think one of the most debilitating parts of pain is how isolating and
This is
individual
called
it is.
empathy.
I also didn't think I was that high until you said all that, and I was like, yeah, no, telegraph, a body, Star Trek, something like that. Yeah, for sure.
I wish that like people
Telegraph.
like, I don't know, people's like minds and bodies could be like diagnosed like cars or computers
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
I think about that sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think,
I want to be a machine.
I just wish that there was some sort of like structure.
like, you know, when there's a check engine light, you can just like plug it in and it'll
Exactly.
run the code.
I need my codes read. Is what I'm trying to.
I
need to find an auto zone for humans that I can go get my codes checked.
I need an auto zone
They
for
plug in a
brains.
port.
I need a report card for my mind.
Yes.
I don't want to know what the port would be.
I need my stats.
Do you really want that? Because if you get it back and it's all F minuses,
It's gonna be all F minuses. I need to know what needs improvement.
Just do a little self eval, dude.
I'm scared of psychedelics.
So you've been in a lot of the close-out productions. They're more theatrical. You get to portray a character and all that stuff. How do you enjoy playing a character more than yourself sometimes? Do you enjoy writing as like, oh, I'm this person, I'm this guy, I'm this gal. I'm a lesbian meeting a gay guy with hard, overbearing parents.
I think as far as stand-up
I'm meeting a
goes-
British child in the Firefly field for the first time.
I think as far as stand-up goes, I prefer being myself. But what I really enjoy about the dragged shows is that you get, like, for roasts, I don't really enjoy roasts because I have a hard time doing that as myself. But doing that as a character is a very interesting and cool thing to me. So, like,
Yes.
that opens up a whole realm of comedy that I feel like I don't love participating in normally. Which I don't, like, dislike. I love listening to roasts. I just, like, feel I haven't found the right way in my, like, POV
I
to
dislike
do it.
them.
Okay, yeah, well, I can see why. I've seen your face.
I'm fucking killing myself.
Damn.
And I told that joke as Mary Poppins.
I'm Hulk Hogan.
So it's okay. Hey, it's okay,
So
buddy.
it's okay.
It's okay, buddy. It wasn't directed at you.
I'm cutting that part. You can keep going.
Hey, if you want to cry, you can cry.
I want to cry. I'm just not going to on camera in front of all these 100 people that are gonna.
I'm just hoping you will.
Dream
Can you
big.
keep on talking about the drag show? You guys, I'm gonna take
Yeah,
a
no,
second.
it's so I think the being able to do it as characters is like a method, like an angle of comedy I haven't felt great about doing myself, and I've done roasts. And
Where'd you
stuff.
get those clothes at? The stupid idiot bitch store?
One of my favorite roast things I've done actually was back when Hat Tricks was an open mic, and we did when Miles was running it, he would do a roast at the end of the Hat Tricks mic.
The
and it
only
was-
running Miles has ever done, friend of the show. Fat.
And
Fuck, dude.
Ruth made me get in a roast mode, dude. Don't
not
let me
even
come at
here.
you too. I'm here.
You won't. Don't do it. I know you won't.
I will not get in between them. I'm gonna lean this recliner back so far you ain't gonna see me anymore.
Find yourself.
Truck stop, bitch.
I am not a lot lizard. That's what they call you, old Kyle Lot Lizard Lambert.
I'm not a lot lizard, but I am a lot of lizards in a trench coat.
That
Travel
makes sense.
center.
You're a lizard person for sure.
That's what I mean. I'm a lizard person.
Yeah, we know you're in the CIA. You're a lizard person.
Yeah, I speak 12 languages, guys. But my favorite roast thing I've done was the Hat Tricks roast. At the end, it would be like there is one person getting roasted, and everybody goes up there and roasts that person. And whoever has the best roast that week is the person getting roasted next week. So it was the circle of life. It was pretty cool. But I was the one getting roasted that week, and this was Miles' idea, to give full credit. But he had me go up last out of everybody to the person right before the roast, and then I spent my entire set roasting myself.
Oh, you 8-miled him.
So then it was like I roasted myself better than anybody else could. And that's actually where the aerial joke came from. I wrote that aerial joke sitting down at Hat Tricks trying to like think of like a roast for myself. And then that's one of my opening jokes now. So it's cool.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Bam.
So there's definitely like roasts are a cool thing. I just have a hard time with them because I'm autistic, and a hard thing talking about autism.
We go for the throat.
Yeah. Well, it's also just like one thing I have a hard time with in comedy is that I'm a very black and white thinker, and so jokes are sometimes hard for me because some people use jokes as just silly kidding, and some people use jokes as a form of social correction, and then people will lie about which one they're doing.
Yeah.
And then if you assume they're doing one and they're doing the other, they'll get mad at you. And so the thing about stand-up that is easy for me is that when we're getting on stage, I pretty much consider it jokes. But then roasts more blur that line. And so that's what I think I have a hard time with, is figuring out how to classify, and it is an issue of sometimes going for the throat. There was one time, it was my birthday, and we were all in Miles Francis's garage, and they begged me to roast them. And I said things that were way too mean to every single one of them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a good, fun time anymore. And I didn't mean to do that.
That's why I suck at roasts, is because when I say things about people, they go, "Aww," or get mad, and I'm like, "Oh fuck!" Like that was just mean.
So I have a harder time with the gray area.
It wasn't funny. It was just mean. I'm trying to actually hurt their feelings, like I did when I was a bully, and I thought that's what roasting was all about. But apparently, it has to be funny and lighthearted.
You know, there's
instead of being like, "That's why you can't feed your children, idiot."
There was one time in like 7th grade that really stands out to me when I really shined as a roaster, was when my friend, who I didn't like that much but was in the same friend group as me, told me I had been cussing in the car.
The real Miles Francis of the friend group. No, I'm just kidding. Paxton Bailey. I should the real Paxton Bailey.
There we go.
I had cussed.
Exclusively talking shit on the 3 people that have been on the podcast before. Just those 3. If you go on the podcast, you're signing a contract that says we're allowed to shit on you for the rest of the podcast as a joke.
I actually signed that and an NDA, so I'm not allowed to talk about what they did before the podcast started.
We were
played Taylor Swift for an hour straight and said, "Hey guys, you want to start yet?"
That's not true. We also listened to Kelly Clarkson. We listened to Olivia Rodrigo. It was a fun time.
It was good vibes. It was a good time.
Chaperone made an appearance or 2.
She's here right now, actually.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
It's time for the surprise. Let's
bring her out. Yeah.
If everyone looks under their chair, everyone's going home with a chaperone.
That's one
She'll
that's
call
like
the cab.
Such a nice compliment because people started telling me I look like Chaperone just because I have red curly hair. And it's like, I know that doesn't mean actually anything about my face, but I do take it as a compliment anyways, so thank you so much. And nobody here gave me that compliment, but I'm telling the world I look like Chaperone. You heard it here first.
The little Renaissance fair maid.
After that VMA performance, that's kind of not far off.
Yeah.
You ever been to the Ren Fair?
I have. I went to the
Have you ever been to the VMAs?
I have not been to the VMAs, but I love the Ren Fair so much.
Was pre-chunk or post-ka-chunk?
It was when I was a little girl, so pre-chunk.
Okay. What? It was the Firefly days.
Back in the Firefly days.
Back in the days.
Actually,
if you're a theater kid, you should have to go there like once a year as pilgrimage, like Mecca.
My grandparents told me and my little brother we could each get something. And my little brother was very excited and ran up and grabbed a wooden sword and was like, "I'm getting this." And then my grandparents turned to me and were like, "What do you want?" And I go, "I guess I better get a shield."
I was going to say 9mm. That bitch brought a gun to a sword fight.
They didn't have that at the Renaissance Fair.
Crossbow.
Yeah, crossbow.
Trebuchet.
At the postmodernism fair.
Sorry, catapult, not trebuchet.
Well, do you want to promote anything? Do you want to plug anything?
The Renaissance Fair.
The Renaissance Fair. Make sure
Shields.
Scarborough or the other one.
I mean, check out my comedy album and special. We got Screwed. We got Braced. Braced is on YouTube, and they're also on all the streaming platforms like Spotify and stuff like that.
Screwed,
so,
of course, is Chopped and Screwed. It's a comedy album. It's, the whole jokes are like, and then I went to an edible arrangements.
Big fan of Houston rap Ruth Banks.
Screwth Banks.
And then you can find me online, honestly, searching Ruth
The
Banks.
lean queen of Dallas.
The lean queen. Baby boy.
We're back.
Please don't hit me up for drugs.
That's at least 10 jokes.
We made it to a solid 4 at least.
At least.
Total. All right. Yeah. That's been another fantastic fucking episode of the Kyle and Thomas Show, I guess. That was fun.